Hello, my name is Karyssa Nelson, and today I will be sharing with you my research poster, Emotional and Behavioral Abilities of Children Enrolled in a Virtual Motor Skill Intervention. This research is directly tied to the current coronavirus pandemic. In the past, the Developmental Motor Cognition Lab in which I work would conduct a Little Mavs Movement Academy program, which helped children with motor difficulties or delays in an in-person format. But because of the pandemic, many options for children to improve their skills in this traditional in-person therapy environment has become quite limited. As a result of this, we created the online modality for Little Mavs program, aiming to find the effectiveness of a rehabilitation program that is delivered virtually. More specifically, in this research study, we asked if virtual intervention programs will produce measurable outcomes in terms of the improvement in emotional and behavioral abilities of the child participants. The virtual asynchronous intervention program is being delivered via YouTube once a week for 8 weeks. This began back in March of 2021 and will conclude this month in April 2021. Each video released consists of a warm-up, followed by 5 activities, each of which addresses a different motor goal, and then a cool-down. Before the program began, parents were administered a pre-test questionnaire. This consisted of the Developmental Coordination Disorder Questionnaire, or DCDQ, and the Motor Abilities Questionnaire, MAQ, the latter of which was created by our team, and both of which assess the motor abilities for the children. Also included in the pretest questionnaire was the Strengths and Difficulties Questionnaire, or SDQ, to test for emotional and behavioral abilities in the children. My portion of this project concerns only the emotional and behavioral data from the study. I am responsible for the data acquired from the SDQ in both the pre and post tests, as well as the Child Participation Questionnaire, or CPQ, and the Parent Satisfaction Poll, PSP, both of which were created by our team as well and are specific to the current program. These will be included in the post-test only to test for the children's engagement, motivation, and participation in the asynchronous program. The graphs pictured on my poster are from the pre-test emotional and behavioral data, which included the SDQ only. The SDQ is a test that is meant to screen for behavioral issues, as well as the overall impact of those behavioral issues on the daily lives of the child and their family. The higher graph on the poster, graph A, concerns the total difficulty score from the SDQ, which encompasses the sum of the emotional problems, conduct problems, hyperactivity, and peer problems. Many of the child participants scored in the high range for the total emotional difficulties. Graph B, on the other hand, addresses the total impact score, which is a measure of the impact that the emotional difficulties stated in graph A have on the child's home life, friendships, classroom learning, and leisure activities, as well as how much these difficulties upset the child themselves. Even higher of a percentage of participants fell into the highest category for the impact score, meaning that the emotional difficulties reported in graph A have a very high impact on the overall life of 77% of our participants. This supports the notion that children with DCD are indeed at a higher risk for experiencing emotional and behavioral problems. It is our hope that this virtual motor intervention may be effective in supporting their emotional and their behavioral abilities during the pandemic. The final column of my poster includes an overview of the past, present, and future plans for our study. We are currently 6 weeks into the 8-week asynchronous virtual program, and therefore we don't have our post-test data results quite yet. This program will run until the week of April 19th, after which we will collect the post-test data, which encompasses every questionnaire we have developed so far. The data collection process for the post-test will conclude near the end of this semester in May. At this point, we will then begin working on our future plans for the study, which include a synchronous program. This program will be conducted with the same participants over the coming summer and will be structured similar to the original asynchronous program. There will once again be 8 sessions on a shorter timeline with activities that address the same 5 motor goals that we are addressing currently in our asynchronous program. After the conclusion of this second synchronous program, we will then be able to conduct a final post-test, which will allow us to draw comparisons between the emotional and motor improvements that occurred during the asynchronous and the synchronous program. This will allow us to incorporate some very relevant questions into our research surrounding the benefits of different modalities of online learning during the pandemic. At this time, I would like to thank my faculty mentor, Dr. Tamplain, for her invaluable mentoring and expertise during my time in her lab, as well as my lab partner, Eileen Lavin, for her support and teamwork throughout this project. I would also like to thank the OUR staff, Dr. Dawson, Mrs. Lewis, and Mrs. Stevens, for the enriching experience that I have gained from the Undergraduate Research Opportunity Program here at UTA. A very special thanks as well to the parents participating in our program. Finally, I would like to thank you, the audience, for taking the time to listen to my poster presentation. I'm happy to take any questions that you may have via the comments section in the ACES website. Have a wonderful day.